Hello, this is Jane Talbot and I am just swerving by to update you on the latest news about my adventure project, Old Dog, New Tricks. The last 2 weeks have been quite busy. It's been World Book Day. It's also been International Women's Day, and that means that over and above my normal work, then I've had performances to do. Solo performances back to back are very physically demanding, and layer that over a very demanding training schedule, and the result is, that's right, I am tired. I am really tired. And I've also been competing in the CrossFit Open, and I've completed a further 2 heats, and that's made me a little bit tireder too. And layer on top of that additional Olympic lifting technique sessions, which are often done with an empty bar or very light weights, but it's all kind of been the straw that broke the camel's back, and I cannot wait for my deload week, which starts today. So it means that I'm lifting much lighter weights for my powerlifting training, and my running sessions are much less intense. Even though I am tired and it's been a tough couple of weeks, some really interesting things have been happening in the last 2 weeks. The first thing that I have noticed is that the world around me seems to be responding to me in a different way. I recently read a book by Alan Garner. It's a fiction book called Thursbitch, and he introduces the notion of a sentient landscape, a landscape that knows you're there and interacts with you. And that's what I've been noticing, particularly in my running and my swimming sessions. It's like the pool is expecting me to be there. It's like my particular stretches of road know I have arrived and kind of light up like a runway. And there are clumps of grass on my measured sprint sections that kind of wave to me and let me know that they're pleased to see me. And when I run by them, I know that they know I've just passed them. I know that's very strange. And in the water, it's like I'm swimming with the water, not just in the water. And when I hit the sweet spot, when I come up for air, it's like it's created this bowl of air for me, and I just have to slightly tilt my head and I've got this vast expanse of air to breathe in. It's really quite magical. I've also noticed that being on the edge of myself, so I am very tired indeed, but consistency is important to me, so I have kept up the training knowing that I've got a rest coming. And I am achieving things in the CrossFit Open heats that I didn't think my body could do. So lunging with a 15-kilogram dumbbell, I didn't think I would be able to do it. I didn't think my knees would take it, but they did. And being at the edge, certain things are starting to happen which have happened before, but a very long time ago. So when I was in my 20s, I did a fell race. It was in Shrewsbury. Can't exactly remember where, or maybe it was in Shropshire. Anyway, I was the first female runner home. And I remember realising, probably a mile out for the finish, that I had a chance of winning it. And then my focus completely narrowed, and it was like everything around me had this soft haze of focus, and I was like in a tunnel, and I could just hear, that's all I could hear, my heart beating really regular. And then this voice came, and the voice said, light as air, just keep running. It was like a mantra, and I listened to it and I followed that voice, and I came home first. Now, since that time, which is over 30 years ago, is that right? No, it's not quite over 30 years ago. But getting into that ballpark, those moments of flow, that was being in the flow or in the zone, have been rare and hard to find. But while I've been running and sprint training, something very strange has started to happen. That voice has returned. And when I find it really tough, so the idea with the sprints is that each repetition is consistent. So the tireder you get, the harder it gets. And maybe, let's say for a 300-metre stretch at 250 metres, where I'm thinking, wow, this is getting hard, the voice kicks in and says, light as air, just keep going. And all I do is listen to the voice, nothing else. The last 2 weeks, as I said, have been very tough with work. And particularly when I'm performing the Wonder Tales storytelling, it's very, very physical activity. And I'd had 2 back-to-back performances on one day and had to come home and that evening do 300-metre sprint repetitions, and I was wrecked. And I thought, well, do you know what? I'm going to go and do it. And I ran, and I ran. And just when it was kicking in and I thought, this is just too hard, a new voice came. And it said, push, push, push. And so I pushed. Well, I'm reading a book just now about flow. And I'll talk more about that in another blog post. And I was reading about a guy called Dean Potter. He's dead, unfortunately, I think. He was a base jumper, so that's someone who jumps off the top of the mountains in a special suit, a wingsuit, and also a free climber. And he talks about this voice, and when you're in flow, he waits for the voice to come, and he just does exactly what the voice says, and it always, always helps him out. And somehow I think by pushing myself to my limits, I am beginning to access the flow and all its benefits. Talk more about that soon, but do you know what? I'm off for a lie down. I'm off to have something to eat. I'm finding it very hard to keep my weight on. I started at about 56 kilograms at the beginning of January. I'm just shy of 56 now and dropped a few percent body fat. So I'm going to spend the whole day eating. Got a roast dinner tonight and I'm going to lie down. See you soon.